Welcome to Crushing Kayfabe. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Jason Garish, and let's start things off with the biggest news of the week with the retirement of Vincent K. McMahon. Came as somewhat of a shocker, but not, I guess. First, start off, thank you for entertaining us for all those years. You knew something was going to happen, and he wasn't going to be forced out because of he did hold the majority stock, so it was impossible to vote him out. So I don't know if there were other legal means that they would have taken to try to get him out. I mean, someone obviously wanted him out of the company by the way things went down. It makes me wonder if there aren't other things that they're keeping hidden right now that they're going to come out, I should say, further along the line. Maybe down the road, I don't know. But yeah, the retiring of Vincent K. McMahon, gigantic news in the world of wrestling. Can't say, I thought much of him as a human being. He's obviously a very arrogant, obnoxious guy, but if it wasn't for McMahon and the McMahon family and the WWF/WWE, I wouldn't be a wrestling fan. So, you got to look at that and say thank you. Kind of take the good with the bad. I can't judge him as a human being. There's rumors that there might be some other allegations. There's rumors that there might have been some things that weren't, legal. I mean, the whole Garant thing with the hush money, the $2 million paying to this one individual that leaked out. I mean, per se, that's not illegal because it wasn't done with company money. It was done with his own personal money. So there's nothing there per se that's illegal or might negatively affect the company itself. So that's not the reason, unless he just got to a point where he was tired of fighting the system and decided to retire. I always thought that he was literally going to die as the chairman, CEO of the company. So this kind of shocks me in that respect. But there had to have been something very significant in order for him to retire, because I seriously doubt that this alone was what forced him to retire. I mean, here's a man who went before the Senate hearings and whatnot, grand jury, and basically told them where to go. So it's not like something of this magnitude would shake him, I don't think. So it looks like Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan are going to be co-CEOing the company. Like I said, interesting developments. I assume that McMahon, I haven't read anything, but I assume that he doesn't have to sell his shares, so he'd still be a majority stockholder, or shareholder, I should say. So there's that. I'm assuming he can pop up down the road if he wanted to, come out of retirement and whatnot. This is wrestling. I don't know. But hey, hopefully he takes this time to kind of reflect on things and spend time with his grandchildren and whatnot. So should be more interesting with Stephanie at the helm and Nick Khan at the helm. Nick is obviously a very astute business individual. Creatively, I don't think that, let's put it this way, I wouldn't want him in the reins creatively. I don't think he has what it takes to be creatively in charge, but I do think that from a business standpoint, the guy is brilliant. I mean, this company has continued to make record profits while putting out garbage products. So you gotta look at that and say that he obviously knows what he's doing, and it is a business. It's a publicly owned business, and it's in business to make money. That's its sole purpose. It isn't necessarily to entertain us, although the reason that it does make money primarily is for entertainment value. But yeah, thanks for all the years. Thanks for the memories, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Hopefully he has a good retirement. I would hate to see, some of these people, they stop what they love doing and heaven forbid, don't survive, don't live too much longer. So hopefully that's not the case with Vincent McMahon. I have a feeling he's going to be behind the scenes somewhere doing something. I don't think he can stay away from the business for that long. I honestly don't. don't see it, but who knows? Only future can tell that, and we'll see what happens. Whether or not this leads to a TV-14 product, there's been rumors abounding about that. If it's going to be more of an adult-oriented product, we've seen a couple of things where the show has been a little bit more risque. I watch Raw solely. I don't watch SmackDown for the most part. I'm hesitant to say that that's going to be the case, only because it is a publicly traded company, and advertising dollars matter, and shareholders' thoughts matter, and stock prices matter. So, and now that Vincent McMahon is out of the picture, I would lean towards it being more of a PC product. I think that's the way that that Triple H would have liked to have seen it go, I think, just because he made his comments about the China comments, about how he had his misgivings about bringing her into the Hall of Fame because his daughters would look her up and see her past in porn and whatnot, and he was hesitant because of that. So that makes me think that it's less likely to go much harder edge than what it is. I don't see us ever returning back to the Attitude Era product. I enjoyed the Attitude Era, but here's primarily what some of the reasons why I enjoyed it. Obviously, I was a much younger man at the time, so some of the more risque, violent, whatnot, media and whatnot, material, I should say, entertained me more at that point. But being a family man now with a son, a wife, and I want to be able to watch that in front of my family. If I want to watch a more adult-geared product, adult-oriented product, I can always watch AEW. There are other avenues out there, GCW, whatnot, where I can watch that. One of the things that appeals to me right now with the WWE is I can have it on with my son in the room and not worry about it. So I really kind of hope that they don't go harder edge, don't go a TV-14 product with it. I've had this argument with some of my coworkers and whatnot, and they have very valid points. They want to bring things back to the Attitude Era, and I don't ever, like I said, I don't ever see that happening because of the market value. I don't see it happening also because, I hate to admit this, but some of my favorite movies are Disney movies. Some of my favorite movies do not have any sex or violence or any nudity in them. And the reason why is because they have well-written, well-thought-out storylines. You could put a harder edge program on there. You can put a TV-14 program on there. You can put an R program out there. If the writing isn't good, it's still going to flop. And it's going to flop hard because you've got to take into account the loss of advertising revenue from people that will pull out of there, loss of sponsorships, loss of sales of merchandise, because primarily your sales of merchandise go to children. The Alexa Bliss's doll, children. A lot of the shirts, children. You don't see a lot of adults walking around with memorabilia from WWE, unless it's vintage stuff like the Austin 316. I do see some adults with the Bloodline stuff, which is cool, but primarily I'd have to say that the target demographic for most of their marketing is for children, and I don't think that they'll switch over because it would hurt them financially. I don't see it happening. They're not going to have John Cena on as a full-time performer. Obviously, he's doing movies and whatnot, so which is a letdown because I wanted to see him go against Austin Theory. I think that would have been great. But now I'd like to see Austin Theory take the belt now that he has at SummerSlam because he has the briefcase. Take it off one of either Lesnar or Roman Reigns, who Lesnar's future right now, I guess, is being disputed. We don't know if there's some rumors that he might not come back, which would be sad. I don't think that's the case, but there's a lot of rumors floating around of that. But I'd love to see him take that belt off of one of those guys and then stretch a feud out until WrestleMania with Cody Rhodes and have Cody Rhodes take the belt. And I think that would pop huge. I think that would be a great WrestleMania moment. And I think it would be highly entertaining. I think it would make for a great moment. I hope they go that route. I hope they book that. Unfortunately, WWE never seems to go along with my line of booking rationale, so I don't know if they will, but it would be awesome in my eyes to see that. I think it would make for an incredible storyline. That's just my own thoughts, but yeah. So getting back to the Vincent Kennedy McMahon thing, Vincent McMahon. We'll see how long this lasts, and I think he's going to have his hand in other business ventures. I wouldn't be shocked if he puts his hand on with the XFL. I just watched a little bit of the press conference. They had the town hall that they had, a little tiny bit of that, but kind of shocked to see they're not going back to Los Angeles and New York. You would think that would be two giant venues, two venues that they would need marketing from, need dollars from. So that's kind of shocking. But away from that, XFL, like I said, thank you for all the years of entertainment. Thank you for everything we have. I really don't see him going back to an Attitude Era style. Maybe once in a while, have a little harder edge, because here's the thing. If you swear occasionally, that gives it much more impact. If you do things that are a little harder edge, like you bleed a little bit, that's gives it much more of an impact. Part of the problem with AEW right now is that people are bleeding left and right every week, so it means absolutely nothing now. None of the matches, so it loses its impact. That should be saved for pay-per-views and whatnot. I mean, I know that WWE still has their strict no blading policy in place, so we'll see if that gets wiped away. But usually the times you see wrestlers bleed now is the hard way on a lot of stuff in some of the pay-per-view matches and whatnot. But like I said, they've got to look at their demographic. They've got to look at what their sales are going to be if they change the product radically. Primarily how this affects things, I think creative is going to get better, because Vince McMahon is not going to have his thumb on the control on the switch all the time. So creatively, I think this opens up a lot of avenues, and I think things are going to get better creatively. So we might have a better product because of this. I mean, most people in podcasting world and the wrestling world thought that Vincent McMahon should have retired 20 years ago. Whether that's true or not, I mean, the guy has one of the greatest wrestling minds ever on the planet, and he knows what works, and he's not stupid. Is he out of touch with the current zeitgeist and popularity and what's going on in the mainstream? Yes, he is, and that does make him a liability creatively, because a lot of what he does put in there, especially humor-wise, comes off as outdated. So will this help creatively? I think so. I think this is going to be a boost to creativity. Whether or not it makes things go harder edge, I don't know. I don't think so. Like I said, maybe occasionally. I don't think it's going to go that way, because Stephanie and Triple H have their children. They want to protect them, and they've broken kayfabe at events before too, because of little children. So I don't see them making it a more Attitude Era product. I don't. I'm sorry. So we'll see. But do I think this opens up creativity? Absolutely. I think this puts some people in charge that are going to have much more of a handle on pop culture and mainstream culture. So I think it helps things along with that, very much so. And so that's kind of what's been going on with the WWE. But aside from that, man, setting things up for SummerSlam, no big deal. A lot of transitional shows with Raw. Nothing really groundbreaking or exciting that's been going on. Nothing really that I want to talk about, that's for sure. So that's kind of where we are as far as that goes. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what else. We know that Logan Paul has signed on. He made an appearance on Raw. Got a little annoying with the what chance, but I'm happy about that because at least it brings a guy into the fold who looks like he genuinely cares about the product and cares about the fans. So that's gonna. I think that's a plus. I really do. I think that's a plus. Let's see what else we got. We got Ric Flair's last match in the news. Which I don't even want to call this the last match. That bothers me because I consider Ric's last match against Shawn Michaels. I know he obviously has fought a lot of matches in TNA and whatnot, and in the independent scene, and I think a lot of that, in my opinion, is kind of disrespectful towards Shawn Michaels, because he did such a great job of selling that match, and such a great job of psychology leading up to it and within the match itself that that bothers me. I think that is so disrespectful to Shawn Michaels, the WWE. That really bothers me, but it's happening July 31st in Nashville. So we'll see it then. We'll see it then. It looks like a great card that we're gonna see. We've got Karrion Ricky Morton versus Brian Pillman Jr. and Brock Anderson. That should be a fun match. Like I said, it's a real good undercard. The Wolves, are gonna be against the Motor City Machine Gun. That's going to be a great match right there. I like both those guys. I love Motor City Machine Gun. Let's see. We got Ray Fenix and Taurus versus, was that the Laredo Kid and Bandito? Nothing really appeals me too much in that match except for Ray Fenix. Got Josh Alexander and Jacob Fatu. That should be interesting. Rachel Ellering, Paul Ellering's daughter, against Deonna Purrazzo. That should be a good match. And what's going on? Is Jordan Gracie somehow involved in there? Is she reffing it, or is it a three-way match? But that should be a good match right there. Be interesting to see Rachel Ellering do some stuff since her departure from NXT. My phone's been going off from work. I apologize for that. If you can pick that up on the mic. Killer Kross versus Harry Smith. That's going to be good. I haven't seen Harry Smith in ages, and I'm a big fan of Killer Kross. Looks like he'll be appearing with Scarlett Bordeaux, so that should be a really good match. That should be really good. Clark Connors versus Ren Narita. Is that Ren Narita? Narita. I'm not familiar with that guy's work at all, but Clark Connors I like a lot. And the one that really interests me is the Von Erichs versus the Briscoes. That should be a good match, and that should be interesting. I'd like to see how the Von Erichs have come along in this short time span. I shouldn't say short time span. They've been wrestling for years under the tutelage of their father. But the Briscoes always put on a great match. That should be good. Briscoes just signed with AEW/ROH, I believe, which I find interesting because I know the reason that they kept them from signing with AEW in the past was because of the network. Network didn't want any part of the Briscoes because of comments they had made in the past, and they're a very controversial team. So the fact that they just signed is interesting. Are they going to hold them off just for pay-per-views? What are they going to do? That's going to be interesting to see how they put that. Aside from that, Death Before Dishonor was last night. We had Claudio Castagnoli take the ROH belt. So Gresham is no longer the ROH champion, which is very interesting because there have been a lot of speculation as far as Gresham. A lot of people are saying that he has already requested his release from AEW / Ring of Honor. So where that goes from there? Did that dictate the booking? Did they need to get the belts off of him quickly? So that's interesting. That is interesting. So yeah, we'll see where that leads to. We had some, was this pre-card, I think, or was this on the card? I'm not sure. Colt Cabana versus Anthony Henry. Anthony Henry has come on, become a fan favorite, so that's pretty cool. You know, Colt Cabana is always a fan favorite. I don't know where they've been hiding him, you know, but they dusted him off for the Ring of Honor card. This whole card wasn't bad. It's Shinobi Shadow Squad versus the Trustbusters. Wow, we had Tony Depp and Alex Zane and Blake Christian versus Brian Cage in the Gates of Agony. That looks amazing right there. These guys at Gates of Agony just look, when combined with Brian Cage, just look terrifying. Where are these guys now? These guys were part of the Tully Blanchard faction along with Gresham. Now there's rumors now that Tully Blanchard has requested his release now that he's no longer with AEW. Whether or not that's true, I don't know, but that's very interesting. It looks like they're going to keep this faction alive and together. Whether or not that's with Gresham and Blanchard is going to be seen. But we also had Will Nightingale versus Allison Kay. You know, I think we've seen this before in the NWA, if I'm not mistaken. You know, Allison Kay, interesting because obviously her connection and strong ties to NWA. But yeah, we had that match. It didn't get to watch it, unfortunately. It doesn't look like it amounted to much. Obviously, we had Gresham versus Casanoli next. With Claudio taking the belt. So that brings up some very interesting items. Like I said before, we had 16 tag team championship with Dalton Castle and the Boys versus the Righteous. I like Dalton Castle. I mean, he's unique. He's got an interesting gimmick. The guy can wrestle his butt off, you know. So I'd like to see him on television more. You know, Wheeler Yuta versus Daniel Garcia. I wish I saw that. That looks like that would have been awesome. The review I'm looking at right now gave it an A. I have to go back and somehow manage to watch that because that must have been a great technical match. Dragon Lee versus Rush. Interested seeing Rush. I'm not a huge Dragon Lee fan, but we had the ROH Women's Championship, Mercedes Martinez versus Serena Deeb. There's another one, man. I gotta go back and watch because both those girls can go. You know, Martinez retained against Deeb, which is awesome. Will they keep her around? You know, he had the Ring of Honor Television Championship with Samoa Joe versus Jay Lethal. You know, Joe Smith Lethal, which I'm glad they kept that belt on Joe. I wish to God they would put him on TV more. I don't know why they're keeping him off TV. Is he just going to show up for pay-per-views, or is that another thing like that? How that's going to work? Had the 2 out of 3 falls for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship with FTR versus Briscoe. That's another one I wish I got to see. Wow. Both great teams. All-time great teams right there. Well, I don't know about all-time for FTR. They've yet to prove that, but right now, currently, they're one of, if not the best tag team out there. And to have them face off against the Briscoes, man, that's one for the ages right there. I've got that. Like I said, I've got to go back and watch this pay-per-view because this is a good card right here. They the FTR should, I mean not should, they did retain They defeated the Briscoes, and once again, like I said, they have signed the Briscoes from what I understand. So that's another one. Are they just going to keep them on for pay-per-views, or what's the deal with that? Because I don't know. Are they just going to keep them on for pay-per-views because the network does not want them on television, from what I understand? So we'll see there. See what happens. Aside from that, obviously a lot of what was on Rampage kind of led into ROH Death Before Dishonor. Rampage has been a fairly entertaining show. I don't know if it's because of the format of being only 1 hour. They have to jam more in and try to tighten up their booking for that, because Dynamite can get kind of sloppy and cheesy at points sometimes because they have the time. But yeah, Rampage has been a fairly decent show coming in the last few weeks. And Dynamite, we had Brody King convincingly beat Darby Allin, beat the heck out of him, which led to Sting coming out and another stare down between Sting and Malachi Black. So we'll see where this leads. I mean, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm liking the two of them facing off. It just, they don't even have to say a word. Just look at each other, and it's awesome. I love both those guys. Let's see. Miro came out. I'm still not sure who the heck he's kind of aligned with. And not sure what's going on there. Are they going to have... he's been cutting these great promos that have been addressing the House of Black, whether or not he's going to be part of it or whether or not he's going to be their adversary kind of thing. I'm not really sure how they're going with this, So, like some people are speculating, interpreting as did Miro join the House Black, or is he sending them a message? So we'll see. I mean, it sets up a feud down the line, or it sets up a powerful ally. I just want to know where the heck Buddy Murphy's been. Is he injured? What's going on with Buddy Murphy? It's been primarily Malachi Black and Brody King coming out there. So what's going on with Buddy Murphy? I hope to God there's nothing bad happening there, because I need to. I like to see him on TV. And specifically like seeing him with House Black, and eventually feud with them. I think, because the matches he had against Malachi Black were phenomenal. So hopefully that's where this all goes. We had Jungle Boy return. Luchasaurus stepped aside to let Jungle Boy go after Christian Cage. So is Luchasaurus now aligned with Jungle Boy, or is Luchasaurus still aligned with Christian Cage? It would kind of look like he's aligned with Jungle Boy at this point, but we don't know. Danhausen challenged Ricky Starks for the FTW Championship. Let's see, we had Wow. Sorry about that. We had the barbed wire match between Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston. So I thought the barbed wire on the mic was a nice touch. That was pretty cool. The we had the Shark out there. It was a nice touch for Shark Week. It made things kind of give it a little bit more of a big fight feel, which it was. We had a weird spot where when Taya Conti couldn't open the shark cage for the Jericho Appreciation Society, and they eventually just squeezed it through the bar. So had one laughable moment at least there. Had another one kind of when Eddie Kingston went to do a spinning backhand on Chris Jericho and missed him by a mile. So we had a couple of little weird things going on, little botches there, but for the most part was an excellent match, which is what you'd expect from Kingston and Jericho. Kingston's obviously not a great ring technician; he's kind of sloppy, but that guy can make you feel everything and make you interested in the match, which is really cool. You know, he's got something there, especially with his promos, that most other wrestlers just don't have. There's a fire and a passion there and a delivery that makes you believe everything he says. So I love seeing Eddie Kingston out there, and I love seeing him in the main event. You know, even if there were a couple of botches and a couple of things that didn't look great. You know, I kind of saw the aftermath with that, with what happened to Jericho. I'm hoping to God Jericho just stops doing this type of matches. The guy's, 52 now, so it's time to cut the crap. It's really time for him to kind of step back and let some of the younger performers do their stuff and maybe go into a full-time commentator position or even go into something behind the scenes, because he could be great at booking. He could be great at talent relations. He could be great at anything behind the scenes there. He's a highly intelligent guy. You know, he's got, a degree in journalism. He's not stupid. He's got his podcast in combination with all this stuff. He could be great behind the scenes. Why not do it? You know, stop beating the hell out of your body. This guy's not going to be able to walk when he's 60. So please, just stop doing death matches. You know, at 52 years old, there's no reason you should be doing this stuff. You obviously have enough money, you have a family. Stop it, dude. Stop. And he's brilliant on the mic. He's brilliant on commentating. He's brilliant behind the scenes. So, man, I wish somebody loved to put him in charge of some things, you know, instead of Tony Khan running everything, which is ridiculous. He's not. You know, he's not a wrestling guy. He's a fanboy. He's a mark. I'm sorry. You know, he just happens to have billions of dollars. But yeah, if you could put somebody like Jericho, and unfortunately it looks like Tully Blanchard's gone from the company, you know, but you got guys like Arn Anderson, you've got guys like Sting, you've got guys like, you had guys like Tully Blanchard, you have Arn Anderson, you got guys like Dustin Rhodes back there, you got guys like CM Punk. And utilize their brain, utilize their intelligence. You know, get QT Marshall out of booking, get him out of any type of relations, and just put those guys in charge. You know, there's already talk of dissension in the locker room because apparently there's you can't access Tony Khan as much anymore, and you have to go through the proper channels, and now nobody knows who to talk to in certain situations. It's starting to sound a lot like TNA in the past, and that upsets me because I like AEW. I love this company. I like the wrestlers in it. There's some very entertaining product in there. Please stop. Stop relying on Tony Khan for everything, and put some people in there that know how to do some things, because you have people in there that do and that have a great wrestling mind. So please rely on them a little bit more, please. You know, that's kind of my closing thoughts on everything. There's a lot going on in wrestling. I could probably go on for a whole other hour, but I don't feel like doing that right now. And we've already gone past the half-hour mark, so I'm going to kind of start wrapping things up right now. You know, let's give a shout-out to Lucky Lady Candles. Find them on Etsy and Facebook. You know, it's always a great time to buy candles, even though it's 100 degrees out there. Still, candles are awesome. So, track them down on Facebook and on Etsy. You know, give a shout out to TIWF. They just had a promotional, I should say, a nonprofit event for a family, and I wish I could have gone, but yeah, continue to support them and doing a lot for the community and the wrestling community in Western Tennessee. So go support them. You know, every Saturday night they're $5 to get in. So check them out. Go support them. You know, they're always packed. So get there early. You know, and continue to support them because they're doing a lot within the Western Tennessee area for wrestling here, and they're going to be at the Gibson Fairgrounds for the Gibson County Fair. So I don't have the dates on that. I will when that comes up, but check them out when they go down there, and check them out, because I think I don't want to say it's free entrance, but Because I think you have to pay to get into the fair. But check them out, definitely. Like I said, they always put on a great show. Check them out. Like I said, I'll have those dates coming up. I want to say it's August 29th is the Gibson County Fair, but I believe that's when they start. But yeah, check them out and give a shout out to us, Crushing Kayfabe. Go to crushingkayfabe.com, Crushing with a K. You can get links to all of our social media from there, and also check us out on Patreon, patreon.com. Do a search for Crushing Kayfabe, Crushing with a K. And for just $1 a month, you can support us, help keep the lights on, and you can get all the audio ad-free, which is cool, because if you're doing it on Spotify or whatnot, or on YouTube, it'll interject ads when they feel like it, kind of thing. Here, if you go into Patreon, you can go in and check us out ad-free. So check us out, support the show, please, and keep the lights on. In addition to that, I'd like to give my wife's business a shout out. Hooked by Jenna Lynn. Check her out on Facebook, and you can check her stuff out in a couple of different places. The first one being Then and Now Flea Market, which is right in the heart downtown Trenton. So Trenton, Tennessee, that is. So check them out, Then and Now Flea Market, and you can get some Hooked by Jenna products there, and you can get some various things from other vendors, and you can go check out my CD down there too. So that's Then and Now Flea Market. And while you're at it, Peggy's Attic in Milan, check them out. It's another great flea market that has a ton of different vendors, lots of variety of different products, new and old. And once again, we have a booth there too. So go check out my CD. Go check out a variety of different handmade goods for my wife, and check them out. So that's Peggy's Attic. And tell them Crushing Kayfabe sent you. Anywhere you go, tell them Crushing Kayfabe sent you. Get the word out and spread the word, and let people know about the show. All right. So that's all the time I have. Thank you for listening, and God bless.